What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Diesel Creek. My name's Matt. Behind me, my $200 Jeep XJ, aka the beater with a heater. It's officially been a little over 1 year since I picked up this gem. So let's go ahead and take it out for a rip and see what I'm thinking about this thing after 1 year with a $200 vehicle. There's a delightfully fine racket for the engine to make. Can you hear that? It's time to test the tensile strength of everything I forgot to disconnect. And ho-ho-ho! One of these cylinders is not like the other. Contact! Every once in a while, a blind squirrel gets a nut too. Sounds pretty good. So if my calculator is correct, that brings our total investment up to $883. Door just, oh, what happened? Oh, yeah, that looks nice, huh?
Am I supposed to have it go the other way now? No? It still go out? I don't need to lube it up again, do I?
Nope, that's good. Definitely a big upgrade. All right, guys, well, let's recap this thing. I guess we should start from the beginning. If you haven't seen the playlist on the old beater with the heater here, the link is down in the description. You can watch all the parts in that series. It'll kind of get you up to date to where we're at. Just to briefly recap, this thing was for sale right near my house. One of my neighbors was selling it. And so I called the guy. I said, "What do you got to have for that Jeep down there?" He said, "I'm not taking a penny less than $200. I said, "Sold." "What's it need?" He said, "An engine." I said, "Oh, well, that changes things, but still, sold." So I actually drove it back home, got it in the garage, and ended up yanking the motor out of it because it was making horrendous noises. So we yanked the old motor out. I scrounged around on Facebook Marketplace and came up with a replacement engine for, I want to say I paid like $350 for the replacement engine. I'll correct myself because that's probably wrong. It's been a year. But the cool thing about the engine was it had a reman tag on the side, and supposedly, and now I don't have paperwork to verify, but supposedly it only had like 26 or 36,000 miles on it. So it was supposed to be a low mileage engine as it was rebuilt. Now these 4.0 inline 6 engines are supposedly bulletproof anyhow. They have a very, very good reputation in the community, but I have seen quite a few that grenade cylinder number 6. And that is exactly what happened to the original engine to this vehicle. We did a teardown video on it and found that number 6 was completely gone, and the rod going up and down in the cylinder had actually gouged a hole all the way into the water jacket. And yeah, so it ran an impressive amount of time with only 5 cylinders going on. So long story short, I threw the new engine in here, bolted everything up, and it pretty much fired right up and ran and drove, and I was happy. That was really just the beginning of the saga, though. There wasn't much maintenance done as far as things in the interior. When they broke, they were just duct taped or neglected altogether. So, you know, it is a beater. I'm not intending to dump a fortune into the thing, but I did repair some things like the power windows weren't working. So all 4 power windows work now, so I'm happy with that. Right. I actually recorded the footage you're seeing right now of the power windows being installed quite a while ago. But really, there was never an appropriate time to release said video, and I didn't have really much other footage to put with it, so it didn't seem like it merited a whole video, but fits in here pretty well. I ended up not driving this thing as much as I probably figured I would, although it has filled in various times. Like over the summer, my truck was down and out for a little while, and I actually converted this thing into a service truck. So in the back here, I bought me a used Pack Rat Weather Guard toolbox here, and this thing has been great. I don't have 100% of my tools in here, but I have probably 90% of the tools that I use often in here, and it's been nice. And this one, real nice guy I bought this thing off of. He threw this one in for free, and I got all my other stuff in here. This side I got my grease gun, some more parts that need installed there, 3/4 impact. It's all in here. I'll tell you what, it actually fit the bill pretty nicely, and I really enjoyed working out of this Jeep. Consequently, from installing the toolboxes and throwing all my gear into this thing and driving it around every day, this rear suspension was pretty well sagged out already. So I went ahead and I added some airbags to this thing, as you guys may recall. I did a video on that as well. And I tell you what, they were really impressive. I don't have any weight in the vehicle right now, but the airbags are obviously still on there, and I have them deflated down to a low pressure. But with all that gear in there, I probably had close to 800 or 1,000 pounds worth of tooling I was carrying around with me, and this thing pulled it around just fine, no issues at all. I just needed to beef up the suspension. So after we put the airbags in, everything was great, and I couldn't have been happier with it. It was actually very convenient to work out of the Jeep. Another upgrade we did back early on with this project, put these LED headlights in there. I don't know if I still have the link to those, but if I do, I'll drop them down in the description. They did send me these things for free, but I'm not getting any kickbacks off of this or anything. But the headlights are very bright, and I've been very happy with them. They're still performing great, and I haven't had any issues with them, so I highly recommend them if you're in the market for a 5x9 headlight or whatever these are. Also did 2 videos on putting the fluid film undercoating on this Jeep. So I've done that 2 years now, and I tell you what, I really love the fluid film, and it's been working out great. There's still copious amounts of it all over the Jeep, and that's just fine for me. That should just help stave off any rust as the winter progresses here. As you can see, it's a Swinter's Wonderland, and they like to use the salt around here. Now the interior on this thing is an absolute mess, as it is just a beater, as I said. I've never really gone into any detail scrubbing this thing down, but everything is pretty much the way you guys saw it last, other than probably a little dirtier. The headliner was falling, so you know, it just gets the old redneck upholstery job there. Beautiful AM/FM cassette. The speakers are blown out, and it's a beater. I'm not going to sink a ton of money into putting a nice radio system in this thing. I usually just end up listening to my headphones anyways. I have a bunch of junk riding around in the back with me right now. I've been bouncing around a little bit. I bet you there's a sack of Black Beauty back there that broke open and probably made a big mess, but I have the rear seat out, and it's really nice. I can haul Meatball and Roscoe around in here with me. I don't worry about their fur getting on anything because it's a beater. That's the whole point of it. You just don't care that much. Now, full disclosure, when I put this thing back on the road, I really didn't intend to get that much time out of it. I figured that I would probably get like 6 months, maybe a year out of it, which is where we're at, but I figured that would probably be about the end of this thing. I figured it would be pretty well sacked out. But after driving this thing for a while, I started falling in love with it, and I actually really like this Jeep, and I want to keep it going. That's why I've been keeping up with the fluid film job and trying to stay out of the salt when possible, but living here, not exactly a easy feat. So under the hood here, I have had to replace the battery That's not a big deal. I put these heavy-duty cables on here from jeepcables.com last year, and no issues there at all. They've been cranking up really reliably. Can't complain one bit about that. I'd say that they're definitely overbuilt for what this is. The old 4.0 has not missed a beat. The only thing I will say is that it makes a little bit of lifter tick on cold start, so I think I'd like to put a set of lifters in this thing here in the future. Really no leaks to speak of other than a slight antifreeze leak over here. I don't know if you guys can tell. It's just a little bit wet over there, and I need to investigate that better and figure out where exactly it's coming from, if it can be patched or if I have to get a new radiator. Probably won't get a new radiator though. It doesn't lose very much, and I think we'll probably give her the old JB Weld job if anything, because well, it's a beater. So I wouldn't mind finding a slightly bigger tire for this thing, and I am terrible at picking tires. So I know there's a lot of Jeep guys out there, and anytime I make a video on the Jeep, well, it seems like you guys all come out of the woodwork. So all you Jeep guys out there, drop a comment down below and let me know what size tire I should put on this thing. I'd like to go a little bit bigger, but I really don't want to put a full lift kit on it. I'd like to keep the same size rims. When I do it, I think I'm going to take the rims, blast them, and paint them black. I think that'll make that look a little bit better. And I'd like to get, like, I think they're 31s, I want to say. I think a 31 would fit under here. I think I read somewhere. And I want to get something that's fairly aggressive, but not so aggressive that you're dealing with that from the mud tires, and not so aggressive that it's going to wear out after about 20 miles on the highway. So some things that are on the list to be fixed for the old Jeep here, as I am now trying to keep it on the road rather than just beat it into submission. There's a bit of fender rot right here, which the snow is nicely covering up so you can't see it, but there's a hole right there you can see, and that whole panel is a bit rusty and crusty. I'd like to get that one patched, and then again, the snow's covering it up, but the rear bumper is especially scaly and rusted over. It's got big cancer spots right there. Don't know if you can tell. I really soaked them down with the fluid film, but definitely crusty and rusty under there. This side looks good, but then the front one on this side is also got some weight reduction going on, and we need to get that taken care of. I don't really have much else to say other than that. I am very happy with the vehicle. It's done everything I've asked of it, and then some, even though some of that stuff is a little bit beyond what it was probably intended for. One of the things I've always thought would be a nice thing to encourage, since I have a pretty good size audience these days. So I really want to encourage people to get out there and save stuff and fix stuff. That's one of my main goals with the channel, actually, is to go out and save stuff like this. Buy yourself a nice old beater, fix it up a little bit, learn a skill, work with your hands. You can actually save yourself quite a bit of money, and most people get quite the sense of accomplishment out of it anyways. This vehicle probably would have been scrapped if I hadn't bought it. I feel pretty good knowing that I bought this thing for $200 and it's still going. Now, I did have to put some money into it. I think I have something around $1,200 or $1,500 into this thing all told now. It's not much. And where are you going to go buy a running and driving four-wheel drive vehicle for that? Not too many of those up for sale. If you've looked at new vehicle prices these days, they are to the moon. So you can really save yourself a heap by going out and buying a heap. You don't have to go to the dealer and spend 80 grand on a new vehicle. You can go out and buy something like this dirt cheap and put some money and some time and some effort into it and come out with a nice vehicle on the other side of it. Now, you don't have to leave it a beater like I have. You can make it as nice as you want. And that's the great thing about doing something like this. Plus, you get the satisfaction at the end of the day of saying, hey, I built that vehicle. Anyways, guys, I know this video is a bit of a departure from our normal content, but I did have some people asking me about the old beater with the heater here, so I figured I'd give you an update since it is 1 year later. Like I said, I'm really happy with the vehicle. I'm glad I did what I did, and hopefully it hangs around a few more years. So if you like this video and you want to see some more like it, don't forget, hit that thumbs up button down below. It really helps me out. It doesn't cost you guys a thing, and it lets me know what you guys like. Also, if you haven't already, be sure you tickle that subscribe button so I can catch you on the next video. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Catch you later.